What's up, everybody? Kyle here. Let's talk wax, and today we're going to be looking at my 2024 Bowman Draft First Chrome and First Autograph checklist breakdown. I do these for every release since 2020, and I am in the process of updating all these right now, working backwards from 2025 Bowman. If you want to check all those out, you can check out my Patreon page. I'll put a link to it in the video description. But I'm going to start with the guys in green. They are going to be my favorite prospects on this list, and I've got some guys, I'll scroll down here, that are in yellow that I think could be sleepers in this release as well. But before we get any further, you can see here I've got a PR and a CR. PR refers to the previous rank on my last update, and current rank, CR, is what I rank these players with my Let's Talk Wax ranking system right now. And you can take a look at that as I pop it up here. You can see I've got Elite through 7. Elite being a current ceiling of an MLB MVP. That rank is very rare. I think the last players to receive those ranks were Jackson Holiday, Paul Skeens, and Jackson Chourio. So those do not come around very often. Ones are also very rare. And I do have 0.5 incremental ranks where I can't really decide if I want to go with like a 1 or a 2. Some people will be a 1.5. But you can see all that right here based on player ceiling. So let's jump into our hitters to start. We're going to kick it off with Braden Montgomery, who was traded to the Chicago White Sox. The K numbers have taken a bit of a hit in high A, but he's still putting up really good power numbers, so the production hasn't really decreased much. You can see here the production number is still pretty good, the batting average a little bit lower. Not very concerned with that, but the K numbers have increased a little bit. Ground ball to fly ball improved. But like I said, low A was a bit of a sample size here. He's a $50 auto and definitely somebody to check out. Now, it's unfortunate he did get traded to the Chicago White Sox because there are a few teams in prospecting that don't garner a whole lot of attention. Chicago White Sox being one of them, the Athletics, the Colorado Rockies. Teams like that are really tough buys because they're just really bad at the major league level, and there's not a whole lot of interest in those markets. So something to always consider before you jump on prospects in very bad organizations. Braylon Payne with the Milwaukee Brewers, he's organizational rank of number 7. He's an 18.9-year-old in low A, so yet to turn 19. Despite his elevated K rates, he's still producing some good numbers in low A for his age. Now you can see he's got a 27.8% K rate and a 13.7 swinging strike percentage. With these numbers, anything above 22 or 23 is kind of for me. When it gets closer to 30% K rate, that's kind of like a red flag for me. There have been players in the past like Elly De La Cruz who have struck out at a 30% rate, but still are superstars in the major league. So it's not a career ender, high strikeout rates, but what you definitely want to watch is the production. If the production is still there, I'm more optimistic about a high K rate than someone who's got a high K rate and not producing. And the swing and strike percentage, I really love to see that below 10. Below 10 for me is really, really good. When it gets above like 15, that's when it starts to get a little worrisome. But ground ball to fly ball rate, finally, I'm trying to go through some of these more complicated numbers. The ground ball to fly ball rate is the rate at which players hit a ground ball versus a fly ball. And for power hitters, I like to see that under 1. So it would be a 0 point anything. You can see here Payne's is a little high, but nothing in the red flag zone. Anything in the high 1.6, 1.7, 1.8, even in the 2s, that gets a little too high for me. We've got Bryce Rayner, who's out for the season with a shoulder injury, so we could see his prices actually dip some more. When he was healthy, he was doing pretty well, hitting 288 with a 160 ISO, 5 home runs, 9 stolen bases. Pretty solid numbers across the board. A bit of a high ground ball to fly ball rate, but still kind of a small sample size of 149. And injury, when players get injured, they are kind of out of sight and out of mind. I think about players like Jet Williams last year, who was injured for the majority of the year, and I bought a bunch of Jet Williams for super cheap, and now his stuff is starting to take off again. Johnny Farmello, same situation. Like I said, when a guy goes on the injured list, it's usually a really good time to buy if you like that player. I wouldn't just go out and buy guys on the injured list, but you can usually get them for pretty cheap. I would wait it out as long as possible because, you know, the longer they're out, the more their prices tend to dip. So we may not see like a $15 auto, but we could definitely maybe see like a $40 auto come this off season when maybe people have forgotten about Bryce Rayner. A couple new releases have come out since 2024 draft and so on. I'm kind of rambling here, but I'm trying to give y'all some good info in case there's any new viewers, and I usually assume that everyone that watches my content are all previous viewers, so I'm trying to keep all the new guys up to date as well with what's going on with these breakdowns. Now, if you guys enjoyed this content and you want to help support the channel, be sure to check out my Patreon page. I'll put a link to it in the video description. Over there, you can find these breakdowns and team break guides as well for every release since 2020. You get access to my Juggernaut ranking, or my Juggernaut prospect rankings that are stat-based rankings. You get early access to all of my YouTube video info. You also get access to Bobby's prospecting articles that he does about 2 a month. They're really good articles. We've got a Discord server with about 300 active members. And like I said, if you want to join the Patreon page and help support the channel, I'll put a link to that in the video description. Caleb Bonnemer, I was going to put him as a sleeper, but his prices have jumped up to about $20. With sleepers, I like to stay 15 and below. His stock's rising pretty good based on his production numbers. He's got 7 home runs and 21 stolen bases in low A, so hopefully he can get a promotion to high A and we can see what he's about. But another guy who's in the Chicago White Sox organization, so it's going to be hard to... the market's just not really there for that organization right now, being as bad as they are. Carson Bench has an exceptional hit tool with a power-dependent ceiling, and I say that with a lot of prospects, and what I mean by that is how much power they get to in the minor leagues will determine, how high of a prospect ranking or how good they'll ultimately be. So sometimes they run into power a little later in their career, sometimes they don't, but I think with the exceptional hit tool already prevalent across 2 levels, Benj is going to be his ceiling is going to be dependent on how much power he gets to. He was promoted to Double A and he's already hitting 300 with 2 homers and 2 stolen bases. So taking more walks and strikeouts, which is always a good thing, a sub 10K percentage. Like I said, these are numbers that are indicative right here of a very good hit tool. More walks than strikeouts, a sub 15K percentage, and a sub 10 swinging strike percentage. So really good numbers there. That when I talk about underlying data in these breakdowns, numbers like this are good underlying data. Okay. We'll go down to Chase Harlan. He was on my prospect hot sheet recently. He had a very, very big season so far this year in the Complex League. He's doing really, really well. He's hitting .299 with a .234 ISO, 6 home runs and a stolen base, and a 17.3% K rate, 11.9 swing strike percentage. Everything looks pretty good across the board. He's one of the bigger surprises out of this release, to be honest, and hopefully he can get a promotion maybe to a low A if his team makes that team makes the playoffs and they extend their season. But he's definitely not with the Chicago White Sox. He is with the Los Angeles Dodgers. I'll go ahead and fix that now. I don't know why I made that mistake. But Chase Harlan, definitely a guy to check out. Scrolling on down to our first sleeper with a $5 auto is Fenwick Trimble. Now these sleepers, these aren't guys that I'm anticipating being MLB superstars. These are guys that I'm anticipating the value of their autos increasing based on their abilities and the numbers that they're putting up. He's more hit over power. He's got high ground ball to fly ball rates, but he's got a really, really good contact tool. He was promoted to Double A, but like I said, he's currently on the injured list. We'll have to see what happens there. He's hitting .285 in Double A over 22 plate appearances. Some really good underlying K data. He takes just as many walks pretty much as he strikes out, even more than he did in Double A. But definitely a guy who seems really cheap for $5, but like I said, there's not a lot of power coming there. It's just kind of a speed and hit tool with Fenwick Trimble. James Tibbs was traded to the Boston Red Sox. He crushed high A and was promoted to Double A. He hasn't found much power in Double A yet. He hit 12 home runs in 256 plate appearances in high A and only has 1 across 86 plate appearances in Double A. You can see how the ISO has went down significantly. The batting average has stayed the same. A little bit of a jump in the K percentage and swinging strike percentage, but nothing alarming. But he's down to a $30 auto, which I feel like is pretty cheap. Now, his cards are going to have him in a San Francisco Giants uniform, which is unfortunate for Boston Red Sox fans. But like I said, he was traded to Boston, and his cards are still pretty cheap for the production numbers we're getting out of him. Jared Thomas is one of my favorite sleepers you can see in my original write-ups. These are just my original write-ups here. This was when the release first dropped, and this was my initial thoughts on the players. I talked about him possibly being a sleeper. He was a $15 auto on release, and now he's jumped up to about $30. He's had big production high. He was promoted to Double A, and he's he stinks that he's in the Colorado Rockies organizations, but his price has 2x'd since release, struggling a little bit over a terribly small sample size, which was really meaningless at 14 plate appearances. But 11 home runs and 22 stolen bases in high A this year. But like I said, he is with the Rockies, so something to consider before you buy a whole bunch of Jared Thomas. J.D. Dix was promoted to low A, has 20 extra base hits, but he's not really built for a ton of power. He's got a 300 batting average across 2 levels. He's a $15 auto, and definitely somebody to check out as a young player, 19.9 in low A. I have him actually listed as a 2.5 because I really like his skill set. And again, a very cheap auto at $15. We've got Josh Grar, a $10 auto. The underlying data shows a plus contact tool. If you see right here, he doesn't take a whole lot of walks, but that's kind of indicative of a guy who makes a lot of contact. Sometimes, like Jacob Wilson had like a 5.6% walk rate in the minor leagues because when he swung, he made contact. He had a really elite contact tool. So sometimes the walk percentage can be a bit deceiving. K percentage at 9.8, swing strike percentage at 5.9. So he only misses when he swings 5.9% of the time, which is really crazy. High ground ball to fly ball rates. Already mentioned that. Like I said, we've got a possibility of a plus contact tool here, but not a lot of power, 0 home runs across his minor league career. Kalen Culpepper, absolutely blowing up this season. I've got him listed. I had him at a 3 at release, and I've got him at a 2 right now. Just based on his production, it's been immaculate this year. He's recently promoted to Double A, where he's hitting .368 with over 77 plate appearances with 3 home runs and 3 stolen bases. Impeccable K numbers. Just a really good season so far. He's got 12 home runs and 18 stolen bases between high A and Double A. Number 5 prospect in the Minnesota organization. And his stock is really rising right now, and he's a $35 auto. So definitely somebody to check out of this release who's kind of a surprise. Kalen Culpepper for sure. Connor Griffin, this is a flat-out stud. The only thing that it's not even a dislike, it's more of the only knock I could find on Connor Griffin would be reducing his ground ball to fly ball rate. It was a little high in low A, and over a smaller plate appearance sample size in high A, it's already gone down to 1.23, which is really good. So I really don't have anything to complain about. I think this guy's going to be a future top 5 prospect, if not even maybe a top 3 prospect. His prices are right around $250 right now. I've got him listed as a 1. The highest ranking prospect in this release. So Connor Griffin, he's a flat out stud right now, 19.1 dominating high A, which is pretty crazy. Mike Serrata was traded to the Los Angeles Dodgers. He had a big season in 2025. He's got big juice with quality K numbers. Would love to see him make it to Double A soon so we can see what that looks like, but he's hit above 300 across 2 levels and 13 home runs already. So a really big season for Serrata. I bumped him up to a 2 as well. His numbers are just too good not to rank him that high. And I really don't base a lot of my decisions on MLB.com's rankings or other prospect rankings. I base them strictly on the numbers a lot of the time. I don't take too much of a ceiling into account, but I don't take projectable tools too often into account. I really like to rely on the numbers that these guys are producing, and Serrata is definitely producing in 2025 this year. Ryan Waldschmidt was promoted to Double A as well. He's a solid player all the way around. I don't think there's any elite tools here, but he seems like a really, really good high floor guy. And by high floor, I mean, I think he's going to be a pretty decent big leaguer. And he's got no risks really associated with him as far as like his K data goes. But I don't see him like being an MLB superstar. So the ceiling's not quite there, but he's got a really high floor because he's just a very well-rounded player and already doing very well in Double A. Sam Antonassi, incredible K data that trends toward plus contact. He's got plus speed, and I think the amount of power he gets to is going to determine his ceiling as well. He's 22.4, a little old in the Chicago White Sox organization, unfortunately, but some good numbers for Antonassi. In 2025, he's a $10 auto, and he's super cheap. Definitely got to take a look at. Theo Gillen. Now, this is a higher ceiling player with a little bit of risk. You can see he's got a 24.3 K percentage, which is a little high. It's not alarming. A bit of a high ground ball to fly ball rate. in low A so far this year at 1.57, but he's got a speed power ceiling that is very high. He's a center fielder, and I like Theo Gillen at 2.5 right now. I want to see what he can do maybe in high A because he is going to be turning 20. But like I said, this is more of a guy who's indicative of a higher ceiling, especially having the ability to hit for power and with some speed and contact. So Theo Gillen's prices are pretty, $30 is a cheap Theo Gillen auto, but I did see some sales at $30. Now Bazana is currently rehabbing an oblique injury that in the complex league. I didn't put his complex league stats up here, but I'm wondering if that impacted his performance in Double A. His numbers still weren't too bad. He does have a bit of an elevated K percentage, but his swing and strike percentage is great. Doesn't hit the ball on the ground because, of course, he's got immense power. But a guy coming off an injury could be back in Double A any day now. He's at 2.5 for me. His cards are still pretty expensive, but they have fallen off significantly. They went from 300 on release to 125 right now. Tyson Lewis, production right now is better than the underlying data. His K percentage is a little high. His swing strike percentage is astronomical. His walk rate is low, and his ground ball to fly ball isn't great. But like I said, he is producing, so I can't deny him those facts. But the underlying data here is not great. So definitely something to consider before you jump all over Tyson Lewis, because the production numbers here look very enticing. A 429 weighted on base average. So he's jumped from a 3.5 to a 2.5. His cards have went up about $10, and these are comps for base autos as well. Zach Earhart, our final sleeper. He's a first chrome only. He dominated high A and ran into some more power in Double A so far. He's a very interesting player. Like I said, no auto. You're going to have to buy his first chromes. I would definitely go for numbered first chromes if you're into Zach Earhart. Now we've got some big leaguers who have graduated to MLB level out of this release. So we've got 4 guys, and this is a pretty solid release so far. And we're going to get to pitchers next, and you're going to see there's a lot of pitchers coming out of the woodwork as well. Cam Smith, Christian Moore, Jack Caglione, and Nick Kurtz have all graduated to the MLB level. Their cards are very expensive as well, and you can see their stats here. But let's jump over to our pitchers. I know one of my friends, Randall, is going to appreciate the fact that I'm covering pitchers in this video. We've got AJ Causey, a first chrome only. I'm not going to get into a whole lot of depth here. We're just going to kind of breeze through these. Like I said, if you want to find all these breakdowns for all releases since 2020, you can check out my Patreon page. There's going to be a link in the video description. We've got Ben Hess as a 2.5. Bryce Cunningham at 2. He's having a pretty good season. Cam Caminiti having a pretty good season as well, $35. He is a 2 for me. Chris Cortez, a $5 auto. Now, the thing with Cortez is he was a reliever in college, and now he's become a starter. He's got really, really good stuff for a $5 auto, and just a guy that I watched a lot of on TV, watching SEC baseball and just watching baseball in general. I watch a lot of college baseball. So Gage Zeal, a $5 auto sleeper to take a look at. Griffin Herring is absolutely dominating this year for the Yankees. A former LSU Tiger, go Tigers. 7-2 with a 1.69 ERA across 2 levels. He definitely needs a promotion to Double A. He's a first chrome only, and I immediately went to try to look for some pricing on his stuff, and it is pretty expensive. I think everybody's caught on to the fact that Herring is a stud right now, but his first chromes are $2 if you want to buy a base first chrome. But like I said, I always go for numbered. Hagen Smith is a 1.5, having a good season in Double A, 2-0 with a 2.91 ERA. $50 auto there. Johnny King, another sleeper at $15. Jonathan Santucci, $20 auto, having a good season between high A and Double A so far. Josh Hartle in the sleeper category with first chrome only. Cash Mayfield, another sleeper. Cal Stephen, a $15 auto. Another sleeper. Nate Dom, another sleeper. We've got Peyton Tull. He's a 1.5 for me between high A and Double A, having a really good year. He's a $50 auto. Ryan Sloan is a 2 at 20. Trey Yasevich, one of my favorite arms in this release, upon release, is a $35 auto, having some success between 3 levels this year. And Tyson Neighbors absolutely dominating, but He is a reliever only. He's a $5 auto. This guy could be in the big leagues maybe as early as this year. But like I said, he is a reliever, so they don't get a whole lot of love in the hobby. But I would definitely advise you guys to go through your, if you do a lot of breaks or broke a lot of this release, just ripped it by yourself, I would go through your pitchers and see if any of these guys, if you are holding any of these guys that have kind of popped up, you know, across the 2025 season for sure. And some of them are selling very, very well right now. I'll give a quick shout out to all of my Patreon level 3 sponsors. You guys rock. I appreciate the support. If you guys enjoy this video, don't forget to like and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss my future content. And y'all have a great day.